Hello. So I hope you're good. My name is Brian Fitton, and I want to talk about a class that I will be teaching in HOSO next semester. So the class is called Manet to Dali, Art from 1870 to 1920. It's an introductory class to the history of what's called avant-garde art. And if you're interested in this period, in culture or in literature or just in general, then I think you might enjoy it. So first, let me introduce myself a little bit. So I'm from Ireland, which is next to England, and I came to Korea in 2009. And then I spent a few years teaching in Gongju Yoja Godeunghakyo. So if anybody is from Gongju, it's possible you might have heard of me maybe. And then I spent some time in Gongju Daehakyo, and I came to Hoso in 2019, and I'm still here. So what are we going to do in the class? So basically what I want to talk about now is just a very quick introduction to the class, and there's two basic kind of areas. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the vocabulary of art theory. Yeah. And it's going to be like how to talk about a picture using the language of the criticism of the theory of art. And then we're going to look at the other thing is like broad categories of the culture and context that the art pieces existed within, the historical context, which is also important. Okay, so when we talk about the vocabulary of art criticism, I just want to introduce some of those basic terms. And one of them is subject. Subject means what is the painting about? So this is the famous Edouard Manet painting, Bar de Folie Bergère. And the subject of the painting is obviously the place, the bar, but also the woman who is serving the drinks, and also the customer, who you can see on the right-hand side of the painting. We also talk about form. So form in art means the shapes, and like literally shape. And the way that, for example, Cézanne is the example we have here, example painting we have here. Cézanne thought that form was like the most important thing. So we're going to talk about how like form works in art and the influence it had. We'll also be talking about point of view or perspective. This is a famous painting called Woman with Green Hat by Pablo Picasso. And you can see that in this painting, Picasso uses multiple perspectives. The way he looks at his subject from different sides in order to capture the full person. But of course, he has to put this onto a two-dimensional picture surface. And this point of view is very important from the very beginning of the avant-garde. So we're going to look at that too. We're also going to look at color. Again, color is really important. This is a Fauve painting by Henri Matisse called Lux Cam et Volupté. And you can see that Matisse uses bright, strong colors, which actually until like say 1870 wasn't very popular amongst artists. I'm going to talk about why that is. And just lastly here, we're going to talk about technique. Technique means how a painting is created. So here you see that like Bala in his abstract speed and sound uses a lot of brush strokes that are straight and sweeping, whereas Matisse in the previous painting used what's called a pointillist technique. And that's something that's very important when you're talking about art, and to know these words is the idea here behind that. Beyond that, and beyond just purely technical aspects, purely formal aspects of art criticism. We're going to look at some of the historical contexts of art. So, for example, we're going to look at art and society. This is the famous Beethoven frieze by Gustav Klimt that is now in the Secession in Vienna and has been for a very long time. And there's an interesting story behind this, of course. We're going to look at how art influences social movements and is influenced by them. We're going to look at publicity, which is how people talked about art, how it was viewed publicly by critics such as Louis Vaucel, who was the man who gave the Fauve painters their names. We're also going to look at the art market and at people like Daniel Henry Kahnweiler, who was Pablo Picasso's. Picasso's there is the man on the left of the right, sorry, the right of the picture. He was Picasso's dealer for a long time. And finally, we're going to look at scandal. And this is related to the previous thing, how artists used scandalous paintings and works to attract attention to their work. So, and what's interesting is it was kind of a two-way thing. Initially, as with Manet's Olympia on the left, Manet did not want to attract scandal. But by the time of Marcel Duchamp, who did what's called Fountain in 1917, then he was trying to attract scandal, and he was trying to make a big deal out of what he was doing. And there's this evolution in art theory or art practice that we're going to look at. So first of all, we're at the end now. So first of all, thank you for watching the video for this long. I'm afraid it's much longer than I wanted to make it. So I hope you take the course, obviously, and I hope you enjoy the course. It's going to be a discussion-based kind of thing. I'm going to give you the vocabulary to talk about paintings and sculptures, and then you respond with your own ideas. And the more people that come, the better, because we'll have more different ideas about the works. Okay, thank you very much.